Hi, I'm Micaela Hammond, and this is my senior Capstone presentation. This is a marketing plan for Misfits Market. The reason that I chose to do a marketing plan is that one, my major is marketing, but I also think a marketing plan challenges one to think creatively, logically, and strategically, and I really wanted to challenge myself to do that. Additionally, Misfits Market is a sustainable company that hits the triple bottom line of profit, planet, and people. And I'm really interested in sustainability. So this capstone was something that I really enjoyed doing. And I'm interested to run you through it. So first, I'll start with giving you a little bit of background on Misfits Market. Misfits Market is a privately owned company based in Philadelphia, and it is relatively young, being that it is less than 5 years old. Its CEO and founder is Abni Ramesh, Misfits Market's mission is to provide affordable, high-quality produce to consumers across the U.S., and produce that is clarified as ugly in quotation marks. A third of U.S. produce is never harvested solely due to the superficial standards of traditional grocery stores. That meaning that is cosmetically or superficially damaged in some way. For example, an almond that has some scarring, an avocado that is too small, carrots that have two heads, or an eggplant that is curved in the wrong way. This produce is declared too ugly in quotation marks for grocery stores and is then taken out of the food system and discarded. Misfits Market then buys this produce from farmers instead of having them discard it, and then supplies it to its consumers for a cheaper price. This produce is still high quality and is still nutritional. However, it is just cosmetically not beautiful for the shelves. Furthermore, all the produce is organic and non-GMO. This means that none of the produce is produced using pesticides and is completely naturally produced and not harming the soil in any way and is thus sustainable. Plus, all the produce comes from hand-picked farms across the US, so is locally produced and is supporting local farmers. So how does it work? So first, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process on how the produce gets from farmers' lands directly to consumers' doors. So first step, they source the organic produce directly from farmers at the time of harvest. This means that the produce is at its freshest. This then goes through a 1 to 12-day process of going to Misfits Market's state warehouses. This produce is then packed in sustainable packaging that is completely compostable or recyclable. This produce then goes through a 1 to 2 day process of being delivered straight to consumer's door. So this process is very short, very quick, and as you can see, very fresh. So a little bit of a closer look into the consumer side of Misfits Market. So when the consumer goes into the website and decides they want to sign up for a box, they have a choice between two box sizes. One is called Mischief Box, which is $22 and has 10 to 12 different types of produce. And the other one being the Madness Box, which is a $35 box and has 12 to 14 different types of produce. They do not specify the difference in pounds. The consumer then has to pick the frequency and the delivery date. So either choose between having your box delivered weekly or bi-weekly and which day of the week. Finally, the consumer simply customizes their box. So a few days before your delivery date, for example, if your delivery date is on a Monday, Thursday, you will get an email and you will have to pick and choose which specific produce you want in your box for that week. You choose your produce from a list that is available to you, and this produce is seasonal, so it changes every month. Let's now look at the external environment that Misfits Market is working in. So what political factors affect Misfits Market? Firstly, the new administration's proposed tax policy proposes a higher corporate tax, which could slow the expansion that Misfits Market plans to have, being that they will have less disposable capital to work with. Secondly, the US is a capitalistic market, which makes it easier for privately owned businesses to operate compared to other bureaucratic societies. There's also little political corruption and strong political stability. Finally, the US has low average import tariffs compared to the rest of the world and other countries. This allows for little trade restrictions on fruit and veg and high competitiveness among the domestic market of farmers. This also then allows for lower prices for consumers because of the high competitiveness. What economical factors affect Misfits Market? Well, firstly, the unemployment rates at the moment are really high because of the pandemic, which could potentially increase the consumer market because more people are looking for cheaper prices and deals and options for food compared to other grocery prices. But also, on the other hand, this could also potentially lower the consumer market because people don't have disposable income at the moment. However, the benefit to this is that Misfits Market supplies groceries, and groceries are a necessity. So people having less disposable income may not necessarily affect Misfits Market in a negative way, but possibly in a positive way, because more people will want cheaper options. Interest rates are also low at the moment to encourage consumption in the market, as the US is in a current recession. The sociocultural factors that affect Misfits Market is firstly population. With population increase putting a strain on food production, food waste is more important than ever. There's also a trend to sustainability in consuming more environmentally friendly products at the moment. There's also a trend in healthier eating at the moment. For example, vegan diets and vegetarian diets are on the rise. There's also an increase in demand of grocery delivery services because the pandemic has caused more people to have to stay in their homes to be safe. Finally, there's a trend in e-commerce and shopping local. So what technological factors affect Misfits Market? Well, firstly, the consumer market has high technological awareness, meaning that consumers can easily switch from traditionally going to the grocery store to now selecting their groceries online through websites. This is all thanks to the creation of e-commerce, which has essentially allowed Misfits Market to exist. Additionally, an improvement in infrastructure of roads and highways across the US has allowed for better transportation of deliverables. Finally, in the last decade, consumers have continued to increasingly use social media platforms. This means that companies and small businesses have easier access to consumer markets. Now, the ecological factors. We all know the current state of the environment is not in good shape. Thus, there is an increased need for more sustainable options. Also, there is now a need for a reduction in food waste as population continues to increase, and continuing deforestation for the use of agriculture is just not sustainable any longer. Plus, conventional farming is just not a sustainable farming practice and hurts the earth with pesticides. Finally, let's examine the legal factors that affect Misfits Market. The US has lenient data privacy laws, and thus consumer protection laws are low compared to other first world countries across the world. This means that big tech companies or even small ones have easier access to consumer information and can thus target them more directly with advertising campaigns. Finally, the internal building capacity laws that are currently in place because of the pandemic restrict how many consumers are allowed in at once. This thus encourages more people to stay at home and order online groceries instead. Misfits Market has two major competitors, Imperfect Foods and Hungry Harvest. Imperfect Foods is in 40 states, while Misfits Market is in 37 and Hungry Harvest is in 10. It is in every single county in those 37 states, meaning that they serve more geographic area. On the customizable front, Misfits Market is the least customizable out of the three. But on the plus side, they have the most flexible delivery dates to choose from. Another thing that sets Misfits Market apart is that they only serve organic produce, while Imperfect Foods and Hungry Harvest serve both conventional and organic. Misfits Market also has the least box size options, as Imperfect Foods allows you to make your box as big as you want, and Hungry Harvest has more box size options than Misfits. Furthermore, another thing that makes them different is that they have a large variety of produce compared to the other two. I think an important thing to know is that Imperfect Foods and Hungry Harvest are Misfits Market's number 1-2 competitors, and Hungry, Root, or HelloFresh, or Walmart or Maya grocery deliveries are not included in this because these companies only supply ugly produce. Ugly produce meaning that they're cosmetically scarred and are not accepted by traditional grocery stores. Let's go over the SWOT analysis for Misfits Market. So first, the strengths. Number 1, they supply high quality produce, which is a really big strength in this market. More importantly, they supply a large variety in fruit and vegetables that are very hard to find and traditionally are not found in grocery stores. They are also more flexible with their delivery times compared to their competitors. Also, the $85 million that they just received through investments will help them through their expansions. Another strength that Misfits Market also has is that they are in every single county in the 37 states that they're located in, meaning that they cover the most geographical areas. Finally, a big strength of theirs is that they hit the triple bottom line: profit, people, planet. Their weaknesses. Firstly, their boxes are less customizable compared to their competitors. And they have fewer grocery staples to choose from, and they don't even supply dairy, meat, or other vegan alternatives, meaning that they only supply fruit, veg, and very few staples. While their competitors, Imperfect and Hungry Harvest, supply more than just fruit and veg. Additionally, quality control is a big thing with Misfits Market. Because the 1 to 12 day gap between production and packaging is very long, this makes their produce less fresh than it could be. Hopefully, the $85 million goes towards upping this quality control. Now the opportunities. Well, firstly, the recent investment can really drive this expansion that Misfits Market wants to do, going to more states across the country and increasing this quality control. A big one is that the pandemic increased the demand for grocery delivery services, and it is said that the demand for Misfits Market went up by 400% because of the pandemic. Also, it's important to note that because Misfits Market is so young in the market, there's really an opportunity to increase brand awareness through social channels. Furthermore, what could really increase sales is the fact that there's a high trend in sustainability at the moment, and there's also an untapped market in restaurant partnership. Finally, the threats. The pandemic is predicted to end in a few months due to the increased distribution of vaccines. This could potentially decrease the consumer base for Misfits Market because less consumers are going to be stuck inside their homes and have to rely on grocery delivery services. Another big threat is that technology has allowed for low barriers to entry into the e-commerce market, meaning that there is super high competition in the market, and this competition can continue to rise. So what does their current marketing strategy actually look like? Well, firstly, their Instagram bio reads, organic produce and sustainably sourced pantry staples delivered to your door for up to 40% less than grocery store prices. This is a really good way to sum up their mission, their marketing strategy, and really what they do in a simple sentence. I like this. However, organic produce being the forefront of their marketing ads is something I want to change in my new proposed marketing strategy. I want to change it to unique, hard to find, high quality produce. The reason being is that this is really what sets them apart from their competitors, being that they have high quality produce and a high variety that's hard to find. Because all the competitors supply organic produce that is also helping the environment. Thus, their produce being hard to find is something that sets them apart and is something that should be at the forefront of their marketing strategy. From my research, it seems like their most website traffic comes from Google search and social media. This is something we want to continue in the future and put more budget towards. Also, an important thing to note is that they recently started working with Bobby Flay, which is their first influencer they're working with. This is something that's really important in today's marketing strategies and something I want to continue in this 6-month strategy that I'm going to propose now. So the 3 aims for my proposed marketing plan are as follows. Firstly, refine the message. This means putting high quality produce for less that's hard to find at the forefront of ads and advertising and marketing in the future, but also continuing to use organic produce and sustainability in the ads as well. Secondly, increase brand awareness. This means expanding social media presence, also growing partnerships with influencers, and also tapping into the untapped market of restaurants. Finally, also improving SEO is really important as well. The final aim is increase sales and revenue. This means expanding market share by going to 13 more states and becoming completely national. This also means expanding the current referral system that's currently in place among consumers. Finally, adding discounted boxes will encourage new consumers to buy into Misfits Market. So now, after hearing all that information, this is my proposed new strategy. So firstly, the target consumer market that we're really going to want to hit is the age range between 18 and 65 plus. This is because anyone can really use e-commerce and buy groceries online. Lifestyles we may want to hit are people who want to eat healthy, vegans, vegetarians, but also we don't want to discount anyone who doesn't have any specific dietary requirements. Interests among consumers may include sustainability, cooking, helping small businesses by shopping local, agriculture, saving money because Misfits Market provides groceries for 40% less, and contactless grocery delivery services. We also may want to hit specific audiences with our targeting marketing campaigns, like moms, college students, because they're really looking for a deal, chefs, because they're interested in unique, hard to find produce, restaurant owners, millennials, because they're interested in new, innovative ways of doing things, and also home cooks. The kind of messaging we want to use in our ads will be save time and money with Misfits Market, 40% less and cheaper than grocery stores, organic produce sourced sustainably from hand-picked farms, that hard to find high quality produce for less. Those are really the things we want to put at the forefront of our ads, and that's the kind of messaging we want to use. The channels we want to use for our marketing campaigns. So we want to use websites like Food Network, vegan blogs like Nora Cook, which is very popular among vegans. We want to use influencers like Bobby Flay, social media like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, etc. We want to improve the SEO, so really hit that Google search and improve website health. That means investing in Google Ads. PR will also be important, so blog posts, telling people about the local farmers we partner with, how much food we're saving, what sustainable packaging we're using, really telling them about those stats, explaining that impact through data, how we're reducing your carbon footprint with every box, recipes with the produce we supply every month. Those kind of ideas will really encourage consumers to buy the boxes and also increase our brand awareness. Included in PR could be bylines in national magazines, newspapers, journals, and websites online like US News, New York Post, New York Times, Food Network also. Really getting our name out there in every channel we can that's efficient and effective for our audience. Let's go a little bit deeper into the messaging for this new strategy. So what are the consumer pain points, right? Lack of budget, produce variety in grocery stores at the moment, especially in those Midwestern states. The need for more sustainability options because other grocery delivery services use a lot of plastic and we really want to set ourselves apart with compostable packaging. Also a major pain point is lack of time. People have really busy lives and providing a convenient service is always going to be a good thing. So how are we going to address these pain points? Well, firstly, the lack of budget. We're going to save 40% less than grocery store prices, continuing to use that sort of language. Firstly, because stats are convincing and using a number like 40% is something that's really striking to consumers to see. Secondly, the lack of produce variety being a pain point. We have to really show consumers that we are consistently changing our options with seasons, with hard to find high quality produce that they can't typically find in their grocery stores. We really want to rein in these home cooks that want to experiment with recipes. And that's why we want to use influencers like Bobby Flay, because these people are going to be intriguing to consumers and to our specific consumer market. The need for more sustainability options due to the current climate. That pain point, how are we going to answer that? We have to put at the forefront the compostable packaging. At the moment, Misfits Market does not put at their forefront the compostable packaging that they use and the recyclable packaging that they use. They just simply say that they use sustainably sourced produce. They need to go more in depth because I think sustainable packaging is something that really sets them apart. So all in all, what really is this marketing plan about? The marketing plan is about including what the current marketing strategy of Misfits Market is about, which is about saving food waste, 40% less grocery store prices, and now including sustainable packaging and high quality, unique produce in that, and including those two things at the forefront of the marketing campaign. So I've broken the timeline down into 6-month period, April to September. And under each month, I've labeled which specific strategies I want to implement. For example, in April, I want to first create new sales collateral. For example, brochures, flyers, videos. The reason being is that we're refining the message, putting high quality, hard to find produce at the forefront. Thus, we need to create new sales collateral that reflects that message. We also want to do weekly blog posts, and we want to do that every month consistently. Additionally, having 3 to 4 PR features or mentions per month is also going to help Misfits Markets expand its brand awareness. By having other outlets mention Misfits markets adds more credence to Misfits because reviews are important in today's society. Furthermore, every month we also want to place out Misfits ad campaigns, ads in Google, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, etc. The reason being is that we want to expand Misfits brand awareness, and by doing that we also have to expand Misfits social media presence. You can expand Misfits' social media presence by also sponsoring influencers like Tabitha Brown. I think this would be a good step for Misfits to partner with Tabitha Brown because Tabitha Brown is a very well-known influencer, especially in the vegan niche market, as well as in the home cooking market. And that is really the kind of target audience that Misfits wants to penetrate. Also, I think Misfits should outsource its SEO to improve the website health. SEO also takes a long time to develop, so starting SEO in April will allow by September for the SEO to be fully developed and improved. Coming in May, now that new sales collateral is created, Misfits will want to start outreaching to restaurants and tapping into the untapped market. By partnering with restaurants, Misfits can have a steady stream of income coming from not just individual consumers, but from organizations. It will help with the aim of increasing sales and revenue. Additionally, Misfits will want to advertise in other websites. This will increase their brand awareness. Websites like Food Network, New York Times, and this would be a good time to sponsor websites like Nora Cooks, which are those niche markets of those home cooks and those vegan cooks as well. According to recent stats, most Americans are predicted to be vaccinated by the end of May. Thus, farmers markets may be open. If farmers markets are open, Misfits should consider sponsoring various ones in order to increase brand awareness. These are the blog post title ideas that I was talking about earlier. Recipes, what will be in your box, farm story, etc. Additionally, these were the two other influencers that I mentioned, Tabitha Brown and Nora Cooks. Nora Cooks being that food blogger hitting the niche market of vegans and home cooks. Tabitha Brown, who is also a vegan and a home cook. However, she is a major influencer across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok platforms. Her presence will also continue to grow, thus doing any sort of partnership will benefit long in the future as well. These are also places that I mentioned placing ads in, like Food Network, the New York Times, YouTube, Facebook. And finally, these are my references. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my marketing plan for Misfits Market.